T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Midheaven Podcast. My name is Candice Marie.
And this is the Peace Dealer.
What's going on, guys? We are back with another episode for you. We were talking a little bit about what we should discuss, and as we're filming, it's actually the end of September right now, so you're going to be seeing this in mid-October, but we're really interested in some of the stuff that's going on with the effects of the Mercury retrograde that's been happening in Libra, how it is affecting some things that are going on in the news, and equally we thought it would be interesting to take a look at Biden's chart and some of the transits that are going to be affecting President Biden. We might pull up the United States chart too, because certainly you can see a lot with
relevant.
What's going on there. If you have not already seen my video on my channel on Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology, I did a whole video on America's Pluto return. I also did some financial predictions, but I've yet to really talk about Biden's chart. I know that that's something that you're super into.
Yeah, Biden's chart is one of the most fascinating charts that I've ever seen, in conjunction with Obama's chart and Kamala's chart, two people that he's actually been in office with. And as we, go through Obama Part 3, I just want to be clear. I think maybe certain people may think that I dislike this man. I don't really hate anyone in office. I kind of see this as like House of Cards. I kind of enjoy the show. I know that these people report to higher figures. I mean, if you've seen a Putin interview, he'll let you know that even the presidents report to the people in the black suits. So, I love all the anger directed at Biden, because it reminds me of George Bush, how he, presidents are just so hated. People hated George Bush. People hated Barack Obama. People hated Trump. Of course, we were going to hate Biden, but there's something very, unique about this person. And I mean, clearly he is a messiah of sorts. I've seen him pull, I know Scorpio rules the dead and the underworld. So to make miracles happen and have dead people vote for him and multiple votes, I've just come
Such
to
a 12th house Scorpio thing to do.
I've just come to accept that he's meant to lead our country, and this is just what's meant to happen. But seriously, I think that the opinion on Biden versus who he really is, Rudy Giuliani, Sun in the 10th, Saturn and Uranus. So, given his position and authority, this is someone who has integrity in his word. He's outright called Joe Biden the leader of a crime family.
He has integrity in his word. Are you really talking about Rudy Giuliani right now?
Yeah.
Okay, always you're like Gemini squad. All right.
I'm biased towards my fellow Gemini, and I see nothing wrong with. I feel like Rudy's performance last year was exemplary. Shout out to the Common Sense podcast, and he exposed a lot. And
where is he now though? Since the whole ship went down.
That's interesting.
Rudy
yeah.
Giuliani's nowhere to be found. Last I heard, he was getting pressure from the feds or from the New York District Attorney over statements that he made and whether or not he was going to roll Trump over. I feel like that's still not. I feel like that's still not over with.
Not at all.
No.
Mm-mm. It could really just resurrect.
I've said this a million times, and people always roast me when I say this. I didn't fucking vote in the last election. I couldn't bring myself to vote for either one of the candidates. I couldn't vote for Trump, and I surely couldn't vote for Biden, so I didn't vote. Equally the same way I couldn't vote for Hillary Clinton, and I couldn't vote for Trump.
That was the most responsible thing you did.
Everybody shits on me, especially on my channel. They're like, "That's so un-American," and I'm just like, I want to be like, "Fuck you!" Like my vote matters, Right. I'm a 30-something-year-old Caucasian woman. Nobody gives a fuck about my vote. They just automatically assume that I'm going to vote for Biden or I'm going to vote for a female candidate. And the reality is the system's broken.
It is.
It's super broken.
And no vote is a vote.
People forget about that. They know who's going to win before the polls even open. It's it's just a thing.
Or who's planned to win, because sometimes you have a Uranus Sun North Node who in the mutable sign changes things, and you think Hillary's going to win, and then he kind of turns the tide. So
wasn't it Trump that was surprised that he won? That when he won, supposedly he was shooketh and was just wait, what?
No.
I don't think he expected to win. I remember somebody talking about like somebody who wrote a biography on like the inside team of like the Trump team, and when the numbers were coming in and he realized he was going to win, that his team was like, wait, what?
I never heard about that, but I can believe that. I do know that Hillary Clinton, or he texted Hillary, like I think before or after.
Yeah.
And I think Hillary texted it back like congrats or something like that. But yeah, the general consensus for everyone was that Hillary was going to win. Like everyone was.
I remember being in a bar in Hollywood when the poll results were coming in, and I happened to be in a bar where there was just a lot of like people from Europe and a lot of people from the UK. There was just a lot of immigrants that were in that bar, and everybody was drinking and having a good time, fully expecting Hillary Clinton to win. It was just the momentum obviously just really slowed down, and then like when reality set in, people went from like cheering and drinking pints to like crying and throwing things and like taking shots because they were like, well, there goes the country. A lot of angry lesbians that night.
This is what happened when Gemini wins. People just start crying like, no!
Because they know you guys are like a fucking toddler with like a book of matches. You're just going to burn everything down that you touch.
Oh my God.
I love you. I love you.
Hey, thank God we lasted the last 4 years. Now our president is burning everything he touched.
Honestly, but we're constantly in a state of like, picking up the mess and the pieces from the previous administration. Like, that's fair to say. Like, when Trump came in, he was coming in after 8 years of, like, war-ridden Obama, and then Obama was coming in after, like, Bush Jr., so it's like, we're constantly in a state of
That's the only reason why he
up.
came in, to clean up Obama's mess. But, you know, and when I say Obama's mess, I don't say that as someone against Obama. I just say that realistically, you know, with the mess that his administration, you know, and all the shady shit. And that's the thing. What Obama and Biden have that fascinate me, they're very powerful. Like, their 12 houses are super powerful. You have this 12 house underworld crime boss wizard. And when I say crime boss wizard...
just like Hillary's chart.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like Hillary's chart.
Exactly.
Both of these, you're going to see some similar things playing out.
And she openly
in the
lied
world.
about Benghazi, right? Which it just makes you think. Like, when some people don't expect to get caught lying and they do, reveals a lot about their character. Both Hillary and Biden on the Breakfast Club. And that's what fascinates me, because given their age range, there's certain things they do socially. They're not aware that it's like they're in a bubble. They're so removed. They're not aware that what they do is openly pandering or is offensive. Because Biden apologized for what he said.
So 12th house Scorpios. I know quite a few 12th house Scorpios. I have family who are 12th house Scorpios. They're the fucking villains.
Yo,
they're the fucking villains. These are the real villains, because you're taking a mixture. And I love you if you're a 12th house Scorpio.
I know a 3-time felon who is a 12th house Scorpio, and that's my friend. Like, he's not in that life anymore, but he used to do that. And they're able to hide so much shit in the 12th. I'm not saying this so that you demonize and villainize any 12th house Scorpio, but these archetypes help you now understand when these accusations come up, when people start to look into these things that they sweep under the rug. It helps you take them more seriously, because there's so much more to it than what, you know, you see the Sag rising, you see like a weak, frail old man who seems like he can't remember stuff, but trust me, he's a lot wiser than he comes out. It's not the dude you see on television.
Also, like when we say 12th house, we don't just mean Sag rising or Scorpio on the 12th house cusp. We're talking about planetary placements in the 12th house who know where the bodies are buried, literally.
Literally.
And I think it's funny when you see Hillary Clinton like going around with her cane and she's all frail and shit, and like I don't doubt she's had health issues and she has had a few tumbles, but I feel like that's really been hammed up in recent years as a result of just the pressure that's been on her for some of the scandals and things that have come out. Not to mention the fact that like she stood by Bill when Bill went through his whole scandal. And, like, even in spite of what happened, I think...
He didn't do it, I can... Did you see that video?
Oh, I thought you, like, literally saw something. I was like,
that's what it looked like.
There's something in my room right now.
Oh, my God.
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about, right? I just saw it recently. So it's an old video of her sitting next to Bill, and she's like, he didn't do it. I know he's innocent. And then the light literally falls right next to her, almost falls on her. It was perfectly timed.
Oh, about the whole BJ thing?
Yeah.
Oh, well, she still has the jacket or, like, the dress with the cum all over it. You know that, right? Like, that's still out there, yeah.
She sell it on eBay.
I mean, come on, she was like this fat ass fucking intern. Of course you're gonna hit that in the Oval Office. I don't even have a dick, and if I was the president, I'd be like, blow me. Like,
I
of course.
love how black people in solidarity rode with Bill because of that. Like,
no, it's because he plays the sax.
that too. Right. No, but black people mess with Bill even more. Like, they didn't get mad at him. They're like, yeah, we
because
see
he's
you,
like
Bill.
that jive,
We
like
see you,
old
Bill.
white
That's
guy.
crazy. Right.
Like,
oh my God, that's crazy.
our president now is just creepy, but like even though Bill got older, he was like still like, oh hey, like
Bill was that man. Bill was that dude back in the day. Like, that's just how he was seen. Like,
right?
What? Yeah, Leo.
Yeah, he had that like
Main
charisma,
character.
you know.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like she stuck with him through that shit,
Oh, yeah.
and I think she probably had words with him and was like, listen, bitch, I'm gonna be the next president, so you're gonna be the first bitch.
No, but
You're
for
gonna
real,
stick
like
with me.
Hillary Clinton, I feel like is one of the strongest people. Not even women, like
She's
people
like a cockroach. You can't kill that woman.
in politics. Like, she's been in politics forever, just like Joe Biden. And it's just very interesting. Like, Hillary said she has hot sauce in her bag. Biden said, if you don't, swear to God, Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. If you have troubles knowing you should vote for me, you're not black. And the reason why I like both of those is they didn't think that they felt like they were being cool when they said that. They felt like when they said that they were connecting. They didn't realize they were openly pandering. They didn't realize people saw through that. And so I really like that because it lets you know these people aren't necessarily as aware how they come off fully. And if you think about it, they're connecting to people who they're so removed from because they're used to being in high levels of politics. And so,
but they're also used to kind of moving around in like secrecy. Like you never really know who they are with that 12th house placement.
Especially with that. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, when I was talking to you about it earlier, it was like, you know, ultimately, like, I feel like not a lot of young people know the background and the history of Biden. Like, they just know, oh, that's Uncle Joe, who was the vice president with Obama, and he was black, so I'm going to vote for him. But they don't know that he was involved in segregation and actually having, like, separation of African Americans and Caucasians, I don't know, the 50s to 60s, and was, like, very openly racist. And people don't do the research, they don't dig. I couldn't vote for him for those reasons.
Now, if you were to ask him, he would tell you he's not racist. And this is the thing, like, when he's saying
he's born again.
Right, he probably didn't think that.
Because Kamala's black, so he's not racist, right?
And, you know.
Isn't she, like, half Indian, though?
I think so. Well, she was always half Indian until she ran. Now she's black, so that's the thing. But it is what it is.
Obama always played the black card, though. I love the photos of him. I know that he used to go to school out in Eagle Rock. And
even though technically he's mixed, but yes.
Yeah, but even in the photos when he's younger, he had the fro, he smoked joints, he didn't give a fuck. But you don't see that stuff with Kamala. You don't see black Kamala. You see her white husband and her Indian children. And she's black. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, I mean, they needed the vote, so.
No, they needed a woman who was ethnic to run with creepy Uncle Joe.
And it worked like a landslide. Even though earlier she said that he was a creep and he probably believed the woman who accused him. It's just, you know, the House of Card politics stuff.
Maybe he's drinking like the blood of children with Hillary Clinton.
I mean,
on Epstein Island.
That's the thing. I don't even want to.
Like the pilot that's flying back and forth.
I don't even want to joke about the hot dogs and the pizza that they're enjoying. Like we don't know these things, and it's too serious to just like accuse. But what we do know is that, you know, him and Kamala share a very unique synastry in their chart. And that's what made me take both of them seriously. I do not hate Kamala. Kamala is very fascinating to me. Joe Biden is interesting to me. Like, I look at these people like, what are y'all about to do? Because it's going to influence everyone else of us. If you'll see Joe Biden's chart, he has Lucifer 25 degrees Libra, where Mercury went retrograde.
Yeah, exactly. And Pluto is squaring that right now in Capricorn. But my eyes got really big for a couple reasons. One is last year, in the fall, around the holidays, we had that eclipse in Gemini, remember? Yeah. And it was around 10 degrees, wasn't it?
Yep. It was around 10 degrees.
Of Gemini, right?
2021.
Oh, no, wait. I know there was eclipses that we had in Sag and in Gemini. So there was some that was in, maybe it was 20 degrees. I take that back.
20 degrees
20 degrees of Gemini, but wasn't there one at 4 degrees of Sag?
We haven't been to 4 yet. So do you mean 24 of Sag?
Maybe it was 24? Maybe that's the one coming. No, the next one's 12.
The one's coming is 4.
Okay,
4
so the
Sag,
one that's coming is 4 Sag, right? It's not 12?
No, because it's 4 right now. It's like 3 right now.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's going to be an eclipse that's right on his descendant, right on his ascendant, right?
Yeah, okay, so it's on right now. The north node is on, the south node is on his ascendant right now. And then it's going to be like 1 degrees.
And
so
the
yeah,
north
basically
node
3.
is conjunct his natal Uranus in this chart, okay, which is the ruler of
Right
the third.
now,
So there's going to be a lot of
Opposition
changes and differences of opinion and stuff involving media, but also...
And he has controlled opposition, Saturn in
Yeah.
the 7th, so beware of controlled opposition.
The big thing that I'm looking at, though, is that he's got Uranus that has been in opposition to his Mars in Scorpio recently. And Uranus is now retrograde, and it's coming back to that opposition, and that's the ruler of his 12th house, so hidden enemies.
Oh, yeah. But see, I feel like since he's in the 12th house, he's aware of that house of cards. Like he's...
Well, the media is going to be his biggest...
Well,
right? Third house ruler.
And that's even more amazing because Kamala is his hidden enemy.
Right.
Her sun is 12th house to him. His moon is 12th house to her moon. So it's like at any point she can just stab him in the back and take his spot.
So like a Julius Caesar situation. I mean, I think they knew coming in, they were just kind of like, look, Joe's old, but he's the sure shoe-in, so we're going to bring him in with the understanding that like...
I think he just resigned before like...
When the
she did
time
that.
comes, you'll either step down or you'll get sick, and then, you know, Kamala's going to move in, but...
Because they want to do that whole woman president, like, empowerment. That's
But
gonna
she's
be a
not
thing.
strong enough with military, and I'm not like super pro-military, but I feel like my biggest concern with her coming in is she would come in, and I think that she may put us in a very vulnerable position to where she would knock so much down. I don't know. I think she comes off like she's not strong, but I think she's super powerful. I think she's wicked, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think that like she has a very powerful drive that if she wanted to bring out the literal devil horns, because she has Lucifer on her moon as a vessel of it, she can, and those true colors are going to come out soon. The thing is, what do you feel about their composite north node Lucifer 25 degrees Cancer, where Pluto's about to be on the south well,
node?
that's also his Jupiter in the 8th house.
Exactly. It's
right? So if that's the composite north node, right?
with Kamala and Joe, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the composite north node. In what house is it?
You know what? It's composite Uranus in Cancer and north node Lucifer. And I think it's going to be, I think maybe if she's Gemini rising, then they're Pisces rising. So it's in the 5th house.
Makes me wonder if they're going to like start moving her into the White House
Transitioning,
before everybody knows what's going on, so the turnover is really smooth. I mean, just looking at his chart though, he's got Mercury at 21 of Scorpio, his Sun is at 27 of Scorpio, his Venus is at 28 of Scorpio, so that's a really tight 7-degree orb, and this incoming eclipse that's going to be on November 19th at 26 degrees of Taurus will oppose his Sun and also his Venus pretty tightly. So his Sun, I see that as his vitality, his position of power, maybe his control in the courts, right, the 9th house, or regarding legal law, or you know how he is having control over relations with foreign powers. And then it's also going to eclipse his Venus in opposition to his Venus, ruler of his 12th. So there's going to be some stuff that's going on, whether it's like he's doing some behind-the-scenes negotiating with, you know, other countries and stuff.
While the Sun's in his 11th right now, too.
Yeah, and then, you know, an eclipse in opposition to your Sun is like, that's a big eclipse. That's an eclipse that can threaten your life force energy or your power.
That's why you're saying algol.
Yeah, and so like that's the other thing is that I've been doing a lot of research on this impending eclipse. I'm getting ready to do a video on it, on algol, but you know, 26 degrees of Taurus associated with losing one's head or beheading or cutting the head off the dragon or hanging oneself or, you know, literally losing your head or metaphorically losing your head. It's like associated with Medusa.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who have algol in opposition to their personal planets are still affected in a very similar way, where it's like they almost feel like they are the victim of being accused of things and being mistreated. You know, Greek and Roman mythology of Medusa is kind of like Medusa was a monster and this and that, when in reality she's kind of like Lilith. Like she was also mistreated because she was so beautiful. She was turned into a monster because Athena got jealous. She was cast
It's always
aside.
a goddess getting jealous.
Yeah, so and also she was always associated with beheadings, and so I think that she has a very Lilithy vibe to her. So people who have algol in opposition have had experiences in their life where people can lose their mind, or they become obsessed or controlling, or they try to
or it's opposite,
rip your head
right?
off.
So it's like an actual other person.
Well, you know the story, right? Wasn't it? I think it was Biden that, like, his wife died in an accident, an auto accident, I think.
So Jill Biden is his new wife?
I don't know if I know that one of his original wife died in a car accident. Wow. I feel like it was his wife and one of his children. So it's also associated with like devastating loss and tragic death and stuff that's really painful. So I wonder, are these series of eclipses bringing back something up that's a huge tragedy for Joe Biden?
Or what was hidden and will be revealed. And I'm glad you brought up like the 10th, 11th house transit, because the Mercury retrograde was on his Lucifer. I don't want to come off as obsessed with the Lucifer or anything, but now it's relevant more than ever. The sun's going to go over here. We're going to actually come into a real awareness of what this means. And so just to clarify, when I say that Kamala Harris is the devil, it sounds like I hate her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do not hate. I'm pretty sure I can meet her and have a good cup of coffee with her. She's Gemini rising. Like, I love Libra women too. Like, I can see us maybe, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't necessarily see her and disrespect her or anything like that. But when I say that, we know that her sun is in its fall in Libra. So the quality of her sun is fallen. We know that she's a Gemini rising, so she's an angel. That's the title and quality of her physiology. That means as an angel, the quality of her angelic status is fallen. She's a fallen angel. Does that make sense? Gemini rising, sun in Libra. Doesn't it all make her so much of a fallen angel? Because you could just be a Libra sun assisting the fallen angel vibration, but we know that the fallen quality of her sun is angelic. And then there's more than just one fallen angel. So how do we know which fallen angel she is? At the core of her soul is Lucifer. So we know that she's the fallen angel at the core of her soul identity, Moon in Aries, Lucifer exactly conjunct. We know that's a fact. That's not my opinion. That's not me hating. It's a fact. You don't see people talking about it because they don't know shit.
I'm looking at two really big T-squares in his chart transit-wise. I'm looking at transit Saturn in Aquarius coming into an opposition with his Chiron in Leo, and it's going to square his sun Mercury. I think he's going to have heart problems.
I mean, it's definitely possible.
I think he's going to have heart issues. I think that he's going to have issues emotionally dealing with how the media portrays him in the next year. That T-square is going to put such a huge emphasis on his 12th house, and like people might try to get him entangled in scandals, financial scandals, or scandals involving women.
That I feel for sure, even if it's a smear campaign. And just to finish that earlier thought, once again, we know that who was the devil? The fallen angel Lucifer. That's why. That's all I mean. It's just logic. So we know that if we look at Biden's chart, for example, in my chart, I have 15 degrees Jupiter, right, in Cancer. My youngest sister is a 15-degree Cancer sun. So whenever I meet with her, she's like my older sister. She gives me Jupiter sage-like advice. She's the Jupiter in my life. We know he has Lucifer, where her sun is. She's like the Lucifer in his life, and she's also Lucifer. So.
Well, and he has Jupiter at 25 of Cancer, so on the opposite end of that spectrum.
In its exaltation.
Pluto is moving into an opposition with his Jupiter square Lucifer.
Coming into the Pluto
right.
return.
And
of
that's
the
in
country.
opposition to America's Pluto. So something about
something
money,
huge is happening.
Politics, housing, the whole crisis that's going on right now revolving around, the government shutdown that may be looming because of what's going on with, what is it? It's the budget.
The budget. Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy because in the news today, it's saying, October 18th, blah, blah, blah. This is like when we have to have an answer in order to avoid a government shutdown. The day that Mercury goes direct, which will be in a trine to Saturn in Aquarius, thankfully, but come the beginning of November, Mercury moves to square that Pluto again, and it's the setup for the Venus retrograde at the end of the year. So somebody was like talking.
My left eye's twitching when you're saying that.
I mean, I get spooked when I look at this because I'm like, they're going to probably like have a saving grace and come out and be like, well, we have an extension or we've got a plan, only to find out that the shit majorly hits the fan come the beginning of the year. What does that have to do with his Lucifer, and where is maybe Lucifer trying to influence him and trying to talk to him about some ways of handling things financially? Where does he stand to benefit and maybe
we know
make
that's Kamala,
money from this shit?
Because we know that she's in his 11th.
Right.
So she's like his ambassador, giving him the 11th house like connection to. Well, it's a lot deeper than that, right? But I love that you asked that, because we're about to see all of that happen coming into the rest of the year.
There's some stuff in his chart that indicates that even in the event of the end of the world situation, he stands to make an ungodly amount of money because he makes a deal. That's what his chart says. With Pluto
so
coming into an opposition with his Jupiter, it's also going to sextile his sun Venus. I mean, like, what the fuck? This guy was going to make a ton of money regardless.
We know the deals he's made with Ukraine and putting Hunter in and getting, like, you know, opportunity to kind of, like, fund the money. Whether that's confirmed or not, we know there's been investigations in it. My question, though, is what do you feel the Jupiter Grand Water Trine is going to do in Pisces?
In his chart? When
Yeah.
it comes into the 4th?
Coming into next year.
Well, his chart ruler is going to go into the 4th. I mean, it's
Oh,
essentially
that's true.
like he's going to have to go home.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to have to go back home. Why? Because it's going to trine his sun Venus. It's going to trine Jupiter. That's his chart ruler.
And conditions of death is the ruler of the 4th,
Or
right?
that he
Which
fakes
is
his death
Neptune.
and flees to another country.
I can believe that.
Or because he makes some deal with another country.
Just
He
like
has
Epstein.
an easy way out. I mean, I'm also looking at Mars going
Who
retrograde.
didn't kill himself, by the way.
I don't think so either.
Right?
I don't think so
no.
either. No.
Too rich. Too
No,
wealthy.
but I think that
Plastic surgery. That's
thinking
it.
down the future, like Mars is going to go retrograde over his Saturn, and I feel like he's out come the end of next year anyway.
What can you speak on to the ruler of his 4th? Because the ruler of his 4th is transiting
Jupiter?
his 4th.
Or Neptune.
Neptune.
Both?
Yeah, the ruler of his 4th is transiting his 4th, and it's in Libra.
He's going to move to another country, or he's going to end up being
Well, the
isolated and
ruler of
locked
the
down
fourth
in a
gives
curtain
you-
place.
Right. The ruler of the 4th, I heard, gives you conditions of death.
This is true, yeah. So what, he's going to be found in a bathtub?
Well, I mean, we got the Neptune here, so...
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like with Neptune going into his 10th, I strongly believe, looking at this chart, if Joe Biden died, nobody would know.
What if he really is a
nobody
clone?
would know. No.
Have you heard about that?
I've seen the tape up by his ears.
Yeah, what's that about?
I don't know. It's fucking weird.
I never believed in clones. Like, anytime people say people are a clone, I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
I saw
and
the
then
tape
I saw
by
the
his
tape,
ears,
and
yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute.
I mean, I just feel like looking at
Don't
this...
tell me the world is flat, too. I'll be
because
so mad.
It's going to be water trines and water houses. So for the next several years, you see Jupiter and Neptune trining his sun Venus and his natal Jupiter. If he dies, he'll die in the White House, and nobody will know that he's dead because they're not going to want to panic everybody, and they're going to move her in and get her close because of a crisis, when in reality they're moving her in preparation to take over.
True.
That's a really interesting water trine. I can tell you that when you have weird aspects between your 4th house ruler and Jupiter, it's especially if there's a water trine, it's an immediate release. Like, I had 2 close calls when I had that conjunction in my 4th house and almost died during my Saturn return, and one involved water.
So looks like next year is the year for sure.
But it would be shrouded in secrecy.
Secrecy, right? We're not going to know what really happened.
It would be like, well, he died in his sleep. He didn't wake up. Fuck, what do we do? Don't alert the media, right? Like, it would be some shit.
So by the time we find out, it's probably happened for a while.
Oh yeah, by the time, and they would try to get everybody into a state of mourning, and they would like not have his family maybe leave the White House. I mean,
is that why they're showing those videos about how, like, I can watch the TV and they can digitally alter the face of who we're watching and, like, make it look a certain way? Because, like, he doesn't really go out like that, so we wouldn't necessarily, like...
Well, and he's had nothing but
he's always on a
accidents
protection
and incidents and other issues. I mean, like, prior to the whole thing with him getting inaugurated, he had, like, a twisted ankle or something, remember?
Damn.
He's had a couple accidents. He's fucking 80 years old. I mean,
wow.
You know, like, what do you expect? But... I don't know. Something about this makes me feel like
they
would keep the family in the White House.
Yeah.
They would move Kamala in. They wouldn't tell anybody. And
especially
it's going to be
with
interesting
Uranus.
to
You're so
see
right.
when Jupiter moves in there. He's supposed to move to a bigger house. Okay, Jupiter in the 4th.
Right.
But do they move him to a more secure location in another country because the United States has been compromised and he's not safe there? So they're just telling people that he's there. I don't know.
No, this is so fascinating because we also have to think about everything everything we're not being told that's relevant now too. And that's the secrecy of the 12th house, which is even more symbolic because he's in America's 12th house. So we have to bring in Obama's first 2 terms where he's privy to these 12th house hidden secrets.
Trines are releases of energy too. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
No, you straight. Actually, that's all I wanted to say.
Like trines are especially water trines. They're spirit releasals.
Right.
So when you
it's like
see
Cancer is a portal to the other.
So when you see Jupiter and Neptune come into conjunction in his 4th and they're trining.
Yeah, that's a dead giveaway.
That's it. I mean, if he, we're watching clips of him falling on Air Force One. Fuck.
Air Force One is like, get this fake ass president out of my way.
Shit. Fuck.
Oh
Okay, but the
my
other thing
God.
is this. Here's my other question. When you begin to see that these planets, like the South Node really starts moving into his planets the first, 2 to 6 months of 2022, the South Node on his Venus, Sun, Mercury. Is there a situation where there's like a setup to maybe get him out of the White House because of a financial or a sexual scandal?
Yeah, especially with Uranus in Taurus, I can see that.
Right? Because Uranus is going to get all the way up to about 17 or 18 degrees, so it'll start to oppose his Mercury ruler of the 10th.
Do you think that might also be influenced by Jupiter going over his South Node? 0 degree Pisces?
Yeah. But
Start
I mean,
to,
it's
like,
been back and
trigger it.
forth there a little bit already.
Yeah, it's already been aspected.
Right?
That's
So
true.
he's got his IC is at 19 degrees. I mean, I'm wondering what's going to happen if something happens to a really prominent woman in his life. I have to go and do my research and see, when that whole situation happened, when he lost his wife, when that was. I wonder if it was during these same series of eclipses 20 years ago, 19 years ago.
We also have to be mindful of Venus, Mercury, the Sun, and Mars that'll oppose his moon. I think that'll give us a sneak peek.
Well, and those eclipses are going to hit everything, because I know we have an eclipse at 26 degrees of Taurus. I think we have another eclipse that's at 15 degrees of Scorpio, 15 degrees of Taurus. So it's going to hit everything. It's hitting all of those points for him.
Damn. And if anything, this to me seems like the transition where we're going to start, basically, like I said, we're going to start to see things shift more to Kamala taking a lead role.
Yeah.
Even if it's still behind the scenes. So I would be very mindful of, just be very careful about how because this is all production. Every time you see them, they're putting makeup on, they're getting ready to be on the screen. So be careful of taking for face value what you see in these people's personalities. Gemini rising, Sag rising, mutable sign risings. I'm not going to say they're fake, but what you see is not who they always are. They're mirroring who they are based on the 12th house Scorpio is who he really is. The Libra is who she really is, how she expresses that. So,
but I don't feel like I know this sounds shitty, but I don't feel like he's a strong leader. I feel like he's very personable, and that's why he did so well with Obama, is because
Right.
him and Obama were tight and they got along well and whatever. He was good on
in
camera.
front of the scenes.
But this isn't a situation where it's Biden gets sick and Kamala takes over, but Biden's still calling the shots. I
Right.
feel like he's either in or he's out. I don't think he's going to hang around and unless he makes some huge deal and they're like, here's the deal, Joe, you're going to have a heart attack, but really we're going to make some big deal involving, foreign affairs or oil or some kind of financial thing to just step down. He may do that with all that Sun Venus, or I wonder if the eclipse in opposition with Uranus in opposition to Mercury, where they basically say, we've got you by the balls, we're going to release
money
this
laundering
scandal.
too,
You either
and
step down and get
taxes.
sick and you do it with,
Right.
you go down,
Yeah.
gracefully and willingly, or we're going to take you out.
True.
Something's going to happen in that sense.
No, I don't think he's strong. I don't think he's a strong leader, just maybe a strong crime boss. But outside of that, we have that whole
And
theme.
you never think that looking at him.
Not
This
at
looks like
all.
somebody's grandpa. but
Exactly.
I look at this and I'm like, this slimy motherfucker.
Right.
And that's
he
just the
knows how to
chart.
play
That's
on
not my
that.
political views. It's just looking at his chart.
Respectfully, of course. He definitely, and I don't want to say anything I'm saying to demonize him, as far as to just lay the stats on the table and just be mindful when you hear what's going to be revealed about him. Because the reason why this year specifically, we're going to see a lot revealed coming from Scorpio season to the next year. For the first time ever, Jupiter and Saturn are squaring him, while Uranus is opposite this. So it's inevitable.
Well, and he's got Moon Queen
He's going to take the fall.
Moon Queen Conks Neptune. Do you see that? By a degree.
Oh, yeah.
And if this were whole sign houses, the moon rules his house of death. Neptune rules the fourth. It means even if he did die, he would die in some weird, mysterious manner, and nobody would really know how he died and if he died of natural causes. They're going to say he died in his sleep. That's what's going to happen. Or that, you know, he had some infection, but it was mysterious and they couldn't figure out what happened.
Imagine if it was COVID, that'd be so hilarious. I mean,
Trump got
ironic.
COVID and survived. I mean...
Yeah.
But his health is definitely very much weakened, I will say that, especially with the South Node on his 6th house ruler, and the eclipse is in opposition to his 6th house ruler.
The South Node on his 6th house ruler, yep.
He's going to have major health issues.
That's going to be major.
But they're not going to want people to know that, because we don't want people to know that our president is ill. It's bad enough we know that he's like the fucking crypt keeper. I mean, when you look at the United States, he doesn't seem as somebody... At least Trump tried. I'll give him that. I'm not a Trump supporter.
That's real.
At least he got his hair done and his spray tan, and he kind of shuffled around with his belly and all of his like wives. He still tried, but I feel like Biden's just gray.
I mean, he's been here, done that. This is his 3rd term, pretty much. So...
Yeah, but
he's having to take over for Hillary because she was supposed to be here. This is supposed to be her 2nd term. So it's like he has to carry on what she
Hillary's out
was
there
going to
doing
do.
the Lord's work somewhere. The Dark Lord.
Someone called her a war criminal and she clapped back, I think. I think she said, go F yourself, but...
Like a real 12th house Scorpio.
She's 12th house? She's Sag rising?
Yeah, there's a theory that...
Or she's Scorpio rising, but she falls in the 12th house.
12th house, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, there's a theory out there that Bill is her beard, and that she's like a total power lesbian, and that it's been basically just like a power couple situation since they got out of law school, or she got out of law school. I don't know if he went to law school, but
King and Queen.
I could see that.
Scorpio.
I mean, Leo Scorpio. I've definitely had situations in my life where I've kept Leo around just for like power situations, right?
He's her 10th house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Oh my God, can you imagine? I mean, I'm still waiting. I think it's crazy that we still don't have a woman in office. I think it's about time. You see like prime ministers and other things in other countries, and they've got women in there.
Seriously.
And they're doing great. I mean, other than
how disrespectful to women all over the world would it be if the first time a woman was president, it's not because she got voted, it's because the president passed.
Well, that might be setting, you know, the precedent, and like getting everything ready to basically bring one in after that. I mean, it's fucked up, true. But it may be the very beginning of like saying like, okay, you know, now we can make this work. But I think a lot of people underestimate
we beta
her.
tested it. A lot of people underestimate her, but that's because she knows how to play dumb.
With
she
Pluto
knows how to
square
look
her sun
frail.
right now, though.
That's
some fucked up shit.
That to me looks like breakthrough, though. Like she's breaking out.
I think she knows right now. If Pluto's squaring her sun and Mercury's going retrograde over her sun, I could see somebody pulling her aside, being like, "Here's the deal. We're about to take out Grandpa Joe." So
like it's all happening now, though.
I think they're telling her that, so she's in preparation.
That's why it's retrograding and like coming into Scorpio season Sag. We're gonna see like a total transformation and change of how things are run, and like what's leading who.
Because algol, it deals with severing and taking out the head.
Yeah.
It will trine Pluto in Capricorn, so taking out heads of state. Okay. I'm not going to go as far as saying assassination, maybe. I don't like saying that, but that's possible where there's an orchestrated takeout, or there's an orchestrated leveling where on top of everything that's going on with this government shutdown, what if it is that they go, you know what, we're going to use this as an opportunity to just wipe some of the people at the top and just and
make it look like it was a radical supporter from the right wing, or maybe it could be a genuine assassination.
I don't know. Something about that Pluto trine, it tells me that whatever chaos ensues from about the end of November through March, because Mars and Venus will go over that degree with Pluto. I think they meet somewhere at the end of February, early March. You will see some crazy things happen with the federal government, and the whole
starting
all
now,
the branches.
Really.
Now it's
it's already started.
It's circulating now.
Right.
The whole fucking drama is starting now because the square is like, who's on whose side? Who are we going to take out? Like, are you with us or not? I think if they were going to take Biden out, they would pull her aside and basically be like, you're either with us or you're against us.
And they could already know this. I feel like before he dies, I feel like, and this is just an opinion, I think he might more likely just resign.
No, that's what I'm
step
saying. I
down.
think they'll give him a shot.
They'll give him the choice
I think
to,
they'll
and if
say
he doesn't,
you can resign or you can get sick, and we need to bring her in. Otherwise, we're going to take you out. Whether they take him out in a sense of literally or
because it's so symbolic. It's like the old white man. All right, I'm giving this to the young black woman, and it's like our era is done. That's how they're gonna do it.
That's
And
not
it's gonna
enough.
be like,
That's not enough to make up for hundreds of years of suppression.
Oh,
it's
no,
not
no,
enough
no.
to just win over the Black Lives Matter vote.
You'd be
It's just-
surprised.
it's
I mean, BLM is already like going against them, being like, you didn't give our promises, but like, it's not enough. You're right.
It's
but
not enough.
it might be the first step, right? That they do to symbolically
yeah,
be like,
but this is some shit
Obama,
that the
there's
government,
change again.
This is some shit
How
that the
they did
government
before.
does just to keep people from rioting, just to make
Yep.
them think they
and
give
it works
a fuck.
and it works like clockwork every time.
I don't know.
It's just the psychological effect, and because they know it's coming at a time where people want it most, I think they might do that symbolic type of thing to be like, it's a whole new era, and now women's are in control and powerful, and I think they might be so like disrespectfully pandering to it, like we're all stupid and don't see through it, the virtue signaling. So it is what it is. I'm very fascinated. Maybe none of this happens like this, but for sure there is a shift of power happening. There is more of at least a shift in the way he executes power. And one thing that Candace has nailed on the head is this eclipse opposite algol.
One of the
decider.
videos that we did recently, we were talking about America's chart. We were talking about the retrograde. I know we brought up somewhere along the way, like, oh, there's more government shutdowns coming, because whenever we see planets at the late degrees of Capricorn, we saw it all last year. That's when we shut things down, open, and talked about putting up borders and
with the Venus retrograde.
so it's coming. But I mean, I think people are really underestimating this eclipse because it's in such close proximity shortly after.
So both
to
of them,
Uranus.
right? Like the Sag one and the Taurus one?
There's two around 15 degrees in Scorpio and in Taurus, and there's one at 26. So it's just gonna fucking nail him from November through June of next year. It's just gonna keep nailing his chart. And it's going to square his Chiron and square Saturn. So where maybe he got away with it in the past, he's not gonna slip by.
There's a lot that's hidden that's going to come out. Of course, how they twist it will be one thing, but I wholeheartedly agree with you. Like for the next 3 months alone is going to reveal more than we've seen in the past few years. So
it's interesting to see what happens. You guys, let us know what you think. Don't hesitate to leave us comments, ask us questions. What do you think is going to happen? Do you have any of these placements in 12th house Scorpio? Equally, do you have anything near 26 degrees of Taurus where there is algol? I'd like to hear how that has affected you. Thank you for watching. You guys have any recommendations for anything, any topics that we should be doing? Let us know. We've got a video coming out soon about Scorpio season and some other spooky topics for the month of October. Be sure to check out our subscriptions, help support this channel, make it possible for us to keep doing what we're doing. Anything else?
That's about it. And other than that, we'll see you next video. If you haven't subscribed, you are welcome to right now. You're welcome. And like she just said, join membership, preferably level 3. And we'll see you next week. Peace.
Bye guys. Take care.